Welcome everyone to Neverwinter on PC. My name is Heiner, and today I'm going to release a brand new version of the character builder, version 0.12.0. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you'd like to see more information over this about Neverwinter, hit the subscribe button. We've got a new major version for the character builder, which means we have some nice new goodies. I actually made a lot of changes, and as always we're going to go through them via the change tracker, which of course I keep up to date with everything that I've changed. In version 0.12.0 I did the following things. Up here I still have a to-do list. If I get some reports from someone that something is broken or they're missing something or they would like to have something added, I will just add it here as a reminder, because otherwise I might forget it. But yeah, these things I didn't do yet, and these things I have done. So let's go through the things, and the things that are interesting I will also demonstrate. I added, it says here, 2 more VOS hardcore items. I think it might be more. I added some pants and shirts that were missing. I got some reports of that. So that's fixed. VIP was changed a while ago actually. Before it gave 2000 HP per person, now it gives 1% HP per person. I'm not 100% sure HP is calculated completely correct. There might be still a little bit of a difference, but I'll have to tune that out in due time. Then Mythic Insignias, they were white, I noticed. So if you go here and select the Mythic Insignias, and you selected a Mythic Insignia, they were white, and now they have a nice teal blue color, aqua I think it's called, to indicate the quality instead of it looking like common. Yeah, then we get to the first interesting thing. It's now possible to reset leaderboards with a global hotkey. I already prepared this here. You could already select a hotkey in the options. I only did reset leaderboard for now. But if you select this, you can press any key you want, Control, Shift, Alt, or maybe multiple at the same time, Control and Shift, or maybe all 3, and then press another button. And this will make it so that you can set a shortcut. You don't have to press any of those, by the way. You can also set it like this, or number keys, and numpad keys also work. I haven't programmed all keys. I think the F keys also work, yeah, including combining them with stuff. You can do many combinations, but whatever you set, this will actually now work. So Shift Control +6, I'm just gonna make it randomly. This is going to reset the leaderboard, and this is in Game Connect. I'm going to add in more hotkeys. Let me know which hotkeys you would like. But I will make it so that we have more hotkeys. So it will be easier to use the character builder. Hotkeys are always nice. Every program has them. So this is really cool. Reset leaderboard, Shift Control +6. I'm going to demonstrate that later on because we are going to go into the game as well. We're not going to stay here on this screen. So yeah, the reset with a global hotkey, going to come back to that one. Then loading of player powers. Oh yeah, that was an interesting one. I didn't even realize that, but if you had everything here set and you saved without setting any powers here, then if you load that save file, all these buttons would be gone. It's fascinating that I never got that report earlier. But yeah, that now works. So if you load an empty or a save file with no powers selected, you can still select powers. This is just a visual thing. So these were still going to 80, which is of course not a thing anymore. So now I set them up to 20. Herald's Defense, also a bug that was reported a lot. It now gives percentage instead of flat stats. I think is it defense or power? I don't know. Yeah, it's defense. So now it gives, I think, 3% defense instead of 3000 stats. Something like that. It was wrong. Then the crafted shirts and pants, like the velvet pants, and there were also some other ones, and also shirts that you could craft in professions. these now have been updated because their item level and stuff have been updated. Yeah, here this one was also a little bit tricky. You could already set the ranks of your artifact gear, and you could also save that. And that works. And then you can also load it even. That also works fine. But when you save a loaded save file with not maximum ranks artifact equipment, be it main hand, offhand, neck, or waist, they would lose their rank. And that's, of course, a little bit annoying. But I fixed that. So that's not a problem anymore. Next one, NW Hub, Neverwinter Hub. There was something that I noticed, and that is if you go here to mod, yeah, there's no mod 21 builds on Neverwinter Hub yet. And if I would upload a new one, yeah, sure. Yeah, this is now fixed, but the default would be 20 in the past. And I think people who have made builds with, let me see, cancel. People who have made builds with version 0.11.3, I'm pretty sure that these builds are for mod 21, but they never updated it because it's by default set to 20. I changed it to 21 because that doesn't make sense. People are just, yeah, a little bit lazy to change that, I guess. Just do this here. Anyway, it's fixed. So now we were going to see some mod 21 builds. Then Gallant and Dusk Armor, they have been upgraded for a while now, and I also upgraded them in the character builder. Gallant Armor is now item level 1200, Dusk Armor 1175. So that's fixed now. Invocation Blessings. I checked all the foods because there was a lot of complaints about foods not being correct, especially the Scrolls of Fate, I guess. But Invocation Blessings apparently have been nerfed a little bit. They used to give 1302 stats for 2 different stats. A very weird number, by the way, but that was the number that they gave. And they changed it to 1000. So they now give a flat 1000 stats to 2 different statistics. Scrolls of Fate, as I already mentioned, they gave 140 stats, now they give 1500. For movement speed, I think it went from 4? I think 4% to 15%, so it's a big jump. I think it was actually 16% before. Anyway, Bard, Masterwork 3 weapons also requested. I added them as well. Weapon set bonus, they somehow fell away, but now the weapon set bonus works again. Also an interesting bug that I actually fixed today or yesterday. The half-elf stats didn't work properly if you select class and then the race. I think in that order. And that was a very weird bug. If you select the class after you select the race, then it did give +2. Otherwise it gave +1. And now it always gives +2. On the Bard, I also looked up what it gives on the Bard Dilettante. It is int, so I also added that. Then, also an interesting one. I added a new category of stats. So if we go to the player stat, let's close NW Hub here. If we go to the player stats here, and we expand this, we see here, this is now all filled up. We have damage debuff, at will damage debuff, encounter damage debuff, daily damage debuff, melee damage, and range damage debuff. So we now have debuffs. And I noticed that we were missing those while I was calculating damage. And that's the new thing that I've been doing with the stat analyzer, which now has been re-added. It was there before, but I noticed that, for example, let me load real quick this, because we're going to use it, that the tit for tat, which is the Ring of the Teacher, tit for tat equip bonus, your at will and counter powers do 3% more damage, your daily powers do 30% less damage. The 30% is actually not additive with damage bonuses. So if you have 3% more damage and your daily damage is 30% less, you cannot subtract 30% from your damage bonus. That actually did not give the correct damage value. It's actually multiplicative because this 30% debuff is a different source. You can also see that on the Neverwinter hub webpage where the damage calculation is, there's a special player debuff section, and I guess that falls in, this one falls in that category called debuffs. So now we have that category, and with that I can calculate damage pretty accurately, as I will demonstrate in a minute. So yeah, stat analyzer we have here, and here on to the left I have a summary of the important stats. I want to add a couple more here, I guess, like damage buffs and debuffs as well. So things that are important to calculate things for your build. So not stamina regen or things like that, the important ones. And then you can calculate theoretical damage here, which I shall do. Let me move some windows out of the way. Let me also really quickly go over this one. So there's the second tab, and there's gonna be more ones, but for example, and actually I had this one earlier, I also made a tab that calculates your effective HP or damage reduction percentage, or gives you a summary of it. I made it line up with your stats. So here, for example, your defense, which is 49.4%, gives you a damage, or gives your enemy a damage modifier of 0.669, which is a damage reduction percentage of 33.1. If you add 1% defense, so you go from 49.4 to 50.4, you would get an increase of your damage reduction of 0.669%. So here you can easily see which stats would give you the most benefit at this point. And you can see in this layout, awareness gives you the biggest benefit apart from damage reduction, which at 0%, if you add 1%, of course, it's a 1% increase. That's very logical. The bottom, this is not done yet, but yeah, I need to improve upon this and also make the same kind of overview for damage and also for healing. I've also added the button down here because this is all based on the values of your build that you make in the character builder. So it automatically uses that, and you cannot use different values. I could have made overrides for it like I did in the past, but it's just really annoying to do that. And instead of that, you can click here and then you go to the Neverwinter hub webpage where there's also a calculator that Jane made, and you can use that one. Yeah, if you want to fill in your values by hand, you can do that there. So let's go back to this one. It's also the last thing on here. We're also going to look at this resetting of the global leaderboard, the reset leaderboards. I'm going to do that as well, but we're going to predict some damage here. Let's go into the game. I'll be right back. All right, this is how I was typically testing the damage of powers. I am going to force a combat advantage position, which helps me analyze whether combat advantage buffs my damage or not. Actually, for the Game Connect, I'm gonna do this real quick. Let me actually add the damage overview. So we're going to Game Connect. Let's move it here real quick. Neverwinter's running. We're not selected, not connect to server. We are on preview. So this is preview. Let's connect to this. And now we have our Pain Giver overlay here. It is enabled. The rest I have disabled. So here we will see total damage done. We'll show you. So if I do some damage here, this damage will pop up here. So this is the damage I did in total. We're gonna let this stack up a bit, and we're gonna predict some damage. And I already did some damage, but yeah. Let me see. Let's go to the screen. We're going to do it based on Constricting Arrow. And I'm just going to do this as an example. It has a magnitude of 520. So let's fill it in. It's a magnitude 520. It is a ranged attack. It's based on physical. It's an encounter. and we have a regular enemy. The weak illusions here have different stats for some reason. I also figured that out. So yeah, and we're gonna leave this all blank, so default. And now we're gonna see in combat advantage, we should get these damage values. So regular hits are 10.108k. If you have a crit, and these are both are not deflected, you have 15,672. If you have a non-crit which is deflected, it will be 7,828. And if you have a crit which is deflected, we will have 12,137. Now we already did one hit secretly, which was 7,860. So important to always check before you start testing these things is, are my stats the same? So let's go back here. What are we doing? I already know why it's different. I think I have the campfire buff. How long do I have that buff? 12 minutes. So yeah, let me also, so here, let me set this to yes. And now we have, yeah, this is all the same. It's all the same. Okay. So now we should have correct values. So we had here a 7,866, which was not a crit, and it was deflected. I can see that because the damage is about half or lower than that. So here we have the 7,866. Projected value 7,866, in-game value 7,866. So let's try a couple more hits. Let's see if we can get the other ones as well. We have here a non-deflected constricting arrow, which is 10147. Oh, that looks pretty accurate. Let's do, let's see for crits. Can we have crit? We have a crit here, which was 15783. 15783. And then we still need a deflected crits. Let's see. Oh, there it is. 12235. 12235. So right now you can see that this is all accurate. So that means that for this test, these parameters are actually true. Just to make this test a little bit more interesting, by the way, I am using gear that gives range damage bonus, it gives at will damage bonus and counter damage bonus, and has the debuff. So I am trying to make this a little bit interesting that we're using the buffs and debuffs of the game. Otherwise it would be too easy. But yeah, I can very accurately determine the parameters of attacks in the game with this tool. And if I have different values here, let's see, let's make this like this, and I get these values, for example, 8653. Then I know that somehow I had a 10% buff, and this is probably an incoming damage bonus, which can be commanding shot, for example, or something else. It can also be a negative damage debuff, I guess, which is a little bit weird, of course. But yeah, you can accurately see, oh, there's a difference, and this can also help you test what the buff is of certain items. You can see what the value is that you expect without an item, and then you can see what the damage is with that item. So this is going to be very handy to determine parameters of damage procs, because we will be able to calculate them. And this, of course, is just the basics. My idea is to make an overview once you select powers. I also want to have a damage overview where you can see each power and how much damage it does, but also procs. So if you have a power, this power also does Strong Grasping Roots. Strong Grasping Roots, let me check real quick. It is a magnitude 175. It is ranged, so it is buffed by range damage. It is physical. It doesn't have a type. So for your grasping roots, I would expect these values. And if we're going to look at this, you will see that this is actually also correct. So here this crit grasping roots is 5161. Here we have 2572. Here we have 3318. You can see these are actually the parameters of grasping roots. If I fill in encounter, you get different values. It's not correct anymore. And it's also not magical. So you can really easily check these things here. That leaves us with only one thing left to do, and that is to show you guys that we can actually reset this pain giver chart. I think we had Ctrl-Shift-6. So if I do Ctrl-Shift and 6 right now, you can see that this is now reset. And if I do something that does damage again, it will start from 0 again. Shift 6. Like that. And it starts from 0. This is very handy if you're in a trial or something and you want to reset it. You don't have to go back to Game Connect. What you needed to do in the past is go to Game Connect and then click this button to reset it. And instead of this, now you can use the hotkey, which is of course a lot better. So that is all I wanted to say in this video. Enjoy the new goodies. It's super useful, and I'm using this a lot already to iron out any mistakes that I make in the build, in the calculations, like debuffs. But yeah, use it to your advantage, and I'll hear from you guys if you find some more bugs. If you have any remarks in this video or any suggestions on what to do next, feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.